species friends. We ain't kidding, Mac. Brian Fellow, Safari Planet. Brian Fellow, Safari Planet.
Brian Fellow is not an accredited zoologist, nor does he hold an advanced degree in any of the environmental sciences. He is simply an enthusiastic young man with a 6th grade education and an abiding love for all God's creatures. Share his love tonight on
Brian Fellows, Brian Fellows, Brian Fellows, Safari Planet.
Hi, I'm Brian Fellows. Welcome to my show. Today we're not talking about animals and such. We're going to be talking about Vietnam and the Vietnam War, which took place in Vietnam. Please welcome our first guest, a hippie. Yo man, I'm a hippie. I'm a hippie, man. Well, hello there, Mr. Hippie. I'm Brian Fellow. I have a question for you. Is hippie short for hippopotamus? No man, a hippie is someone who doesn't conform to society's standards and advocates a liberal attitude and lifestyle. Let me tell you about the anti-war movement. Start with the kids, man, the students. Students for the Students for a Democratic Society in almost every university. Created the Resistance, an organization that encouraged them to not register for the draft, and if drafted, not to serve. 40,000 students participated in the March Against Death, from Arlington National Cemetery to the White House. Each student was carrying a card with the name of someone killed in Vietnam. This next part is very importante. On October 15, 1969, millions of people stayed home from work and school to oppose the war. This day was called the moratorium. It was the largest one-day demonstration against the war. Troops in Nam wore black ribbons on their arms, man, to show that they were with the protest. It was beautiful. Me and my amigo Birdie, we were there, man, we were there. All us hippies were there. It was like we had this one voice asking for peace. It was powerful stuff. A tragedy happened at Kent State University. Some of our fellow brothers against the war, 4 students actually, were killed by the National Guard during a protest on May 4th, 1970. It's really boiled people's blood, seeing what happened there at Kent State. More people joined the anti-war movement because of this. You know, while protesting, we used different tactics to try to get this war ended. We had teach-ins which explained what was going on in Vietnam, marches which drew 500,000 people at a time. We even surrounded the Pentagon to protest. We'd do anything to stop war. In the White House, man, Nixon still claimed that there was a great silent majority that opposed the war. He wanted them to speak up. The polls showed that he was wrong and that 60% of the country said Vietnam was a mistake. It definitely was. We didn't accomplish anything in there, man. A big turning point in the protest was when the Pentagon Papers were released on June 13, 1971. It clearly outlined a pattern of deception the government used to fool citizens. After the Pentagon Papers were released, 70% of Americans called for an immediate withdrawal from Vietnam. The Vietnam War finally ended, and our protest definitely made an impact. It just proves what we could do as people to stop the violence and promote peace around the world. Thank you, Brian Fellows, man, for having me on your show. Make love, not war. Amen. Thank you, Mr. Hippie Man, for your kind words. Our next guest is a lieutenant, and his name is Dan. Please welcome Lieutenant Dan. Yes, hi there, Brian. I'm Lieutenant Dan. I'm a Vietnam vet. You're a vet? My friend Charlie's a vet. He fixes my cat whenever he gets sick. No, not that kind of vet, Brian. This kind of vet is a Vietnam vet or veteran, someone who served in Vietnam during the war. No one knows what it was like over there. No one but us soldiers. And to come back to America, our homeland, and to be treated like we were, it was horrible. We were spit upon, cursed at, and treated like trash. All this after risking our lives for our country and our president. When most of us came back from the war, we would join in the protest against it. Many vets threw their medals into the Potomac River to show their disdain for the war. We felt ignored by the government, so we set up our own self-help groups. Our national organization, the Vietnam Veterans of America, has become one of the most important service organizations in Washington, D.C. We felt ignored by the government, so we took great pride in the organization that we created. A lot of us suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder when we came back. About 20,000 Vietnam veterans committed suicide, according to a study by the Department of Veteran Affairs. Throughout the 70s and 80s, unemployment and rates of prison incarceration for Vietnam veterans were much higher than anyone else in the country. In Washington, they erected the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in 1982. It honored U.S. soldiers who died or were declared missing in action, or MIA, in Vietnam. The memorial has more than 58,000 names. It was initially met with controversy because it did not glorify the military, which we all know is the most important thing in life. The person who designed it, Maya Lin, was Asian, which angered a lot of us veterans. We were angered again in 1983 when a bronze cast showing a black, a Hispanic, and a white soldier was put up because it took away from the solemnity of the monument. They added to the site again to salute the 11,000 nurses in Vietnam. I like that one though. Those nurses were outstanding. Because of them, I'm alive today. November 11th is Veterans Day. Remember those who died for your sake. Well, that's all I have to say. If you know a Vietnam veteran, do them a big favor and say these two small words. Thank you. It's two words they've been wanting to hear for a long time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Dan. Those were some very moving words. I'd like to thank you for coming to the show today. And now, it's time for a quiz. I'm Brian Fellow. Good night. Question 1. Hi, I'm Mr. Joe Montano. I know a lot about JFK and the assassination, but I know stuff about Vietnam too. Let's see if you can answer this question. What was Nixon's campaign slogan? A. Peace with honor. B. Honor thy Nixon. C. Get low. Or D. I am not a criminal. This is not a hard question. Okay, the answer is A. Peace with honor. Good work. Question 2. Wow, that was a close turn. Very difficult. Almost as difficult as this question. What country governed Vietnam prior to World War II? Is it Canada, France, the United States, or the country of Europe? Oh yes, that's right. It is B, France. Question 3.
Hello everyone. Let's see if you can answer question number 3. Who was the leader of the Viet Minh? Fidel Castro,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mao Zedong, or Ho Chi Minh? Viet Minh? Ho Chi Minh? Troublesome. The answer is D, Ho Chi Minh. It's scary that my voice could go this high.
Question 4. Good evening. This question involves a lot of strategery. Please answer correctly. What is the name of the national organization founded by the Vietnam veterans? Is it A, the national organization founded by Vietnam veterans? B, Homeland Security? C, Vietnam Veterans of America? Or D, none of the above? I need to think of better lines. Oh man. Anyway, the answer is C. Vietnam Veterans of America. Question 5. I'm Brian Saz, a young kid. Damn, I was scary looking. For the love of God, make it stop. Oh, good. Huh. What is a hippie? A. Brian Saz dressed as Cheech. B. A rap superstar. C. My answers keep getting lamer and lamer, which is true, but it's not the right answer. And D. Someone who doesn't conform to society's standards and advocates a liberal attitude and lifestyle. The answer, of course, is D, and I'm not going to repeat it. As you probably could have told by question 3 or so, I ran out of ideas, and this stopped being funny a long time ago. But, hey, it's over, right? Haha, last question. Final question. Why was the Vietnam War different from any other war America was in? Is it A. America was fighting on its own? B. There were no set boundaries, and it is the only war the U.S. has lost. C. France did not run from battle. France. Or D. Give us an A+. Ms. Field, your answer should be D. Give us an A+. But everyone else, your answer should be B. There were no set boundaries, and it is the only war the U.S. has lost. Thank you for staying through this presentation and not A. crying or B. falling asleep. And have a nice day.